I want to know first, we'll get into some of the numbers, but when you look at the state budget, when you sign a budget into law, when you advocate for certain things, what are some of the primary things you're thinking of when it comes to revenue collection, when it comes to where we're distributing revenue? What are key priorities for you? What are we hyper-focused on?
So when we think about making sure that anyone can come to Michigan and build the life they want, that's really the North Star. That is who we are. You know, people came to Michigan from around the world for a job in the auto industry.
Well, I left.
Decades ago. I know. Well, it's time for you to come home.
Well, it's a little cold.
But, you got weak, huh? Anyway.
Sorry,
but,
continue.
You know, people came from around the world to Michigan to get into the middle class. You could get a job on the line. You didn't even have to go to any schooling beyond high school, and you could get into the middle class, afford a second home up north on the lake. I mean, it was a great quality of life. It's why we've got such rich diversity. It's why we've been the center of manufacturing for a long time, and that's a great strength. But we know manufacturing is changing, right? The whole world is changing rapidly. And so we think about making sure that Michigan stays competitive so that we've got the resources to invest in our people, making sure that we've got the skill sets that are necessary for advanced manufacturing jobs of the future, making sure that we're investing in places so that there are cool places for people to live, and that we're landing projects. You know, it's a competitive world. We have to outcompete other states. We have to outcompete other countries to get big investment that leads to good paying jobs. And right now, I think we've done a lot of good things in Michigan. It's tenuous with the tariff chaos that we're all navigating.
This week ushers in another new era of Trump tariffs.
World leaders are trying to figure out how to respond to President Trump's attempt to reshape the global economy.
Columbus, Michigan, 4 farmers feeding the state, but this year there's a new stressor.
Tariffs.
These tariffs are starting to take a bite.
China slapped new tariffs on many items.
Toys, furniture, smartphones, just about everything you can think of that comes from another country, you're going to end up paying more for it.
We feel it more difficult in Michigan because of agriculture and advanced manufacturing, specifically autos. We're more sensitive to the tariff nonsense. And so I think that's a major concern on my mind right now.
And I do have a question about the tariff. I mean, we can... well, actually, I'll jump into that. That kind of goes into the Michigan politics, side of things. When it came to NAFTA, it projected we lost manufacturing jobs in Michigan of about 44,000 by 2010, 112,000 by 2018, with even expanding into more Chinese trade. And Michigan lost, potentially upwards of 231,000 jobs since NAFTA was enacted. Manufacturing jobs losing about 21.3%. Now, Trump's trade wars or deals that he's trying to do, they tend to be more nationalistic. They tend to be more protective. If Michigan specifically has lost 21%, I do tend to like a good mixture of globalism and then some, patriotism, nationalistic. I think there's a good hybrid to be done. But in general, the political left does tend to be more globalistic right now, stereotypically, right? Oversimplifying. And the right tends to be more nationalistic. Wouldn't you, of the Rust Belt, state of Michigan that lost 21% in those sectors, be more in favor of something that's a bit more protectionist?
Well, yes and no. You got to be really smart, right? You got to use tariffs like a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. It's not the answer to everything.
That's a political talking point. I've never heard one of those in person. That's wild. That's wild.
But it's true. I mean, you got to be really thoughtful about it. Tariffs have their place, for sure.
Yeah.
We've always had, some sort of a tariff scheme because we can compete. We can outcompete anyone on a level playing field. But there are a lot of countries that aren't playing on a level. Yes, we can.
On
Absolutely.
level? For price?
Yes.
Our price of labor is substantially more expensive in the United States.
When you look at quality, when you look at efficiency, yes, we can. But we got to have a level playing field. And because of so many decisions that have been made over many decades, we know that our North American auto industry relies on parts that are going back and forth over the Ambassador Bridge in Detroit to Windsor, Canada, 7-8 times a day for parts. I mean, this trade is really important. We've built it in. Trump negotiated the USMCA, or whatever you want to call it, depending on which country you're in. They all call it something different because they want their own country to start first. I totally, wholeheartedly want us to onshore and bring as much manufacturing to the shores of the United States. By the same token, I'm very sober about who our allies are and who's really been a part of our growth and what we've required manufacturing to rely on. You can't set up a plant overnight. It takes years. These companies make decades and investments, decades on the front end. And so manufacturing is just different than almost any other type of commerce that we have. And that's why it needs to be used as a scalpel, not a sledgehammer.